I'm going to share my plein air work that I've been doing since last time I posted my plein air stuff. And this time, this batch has been kind of like, eh. Some that I like and some that didn't quite jive with me, I guess. Here is the first one. It's a fountain in a garden. So this one I painted at Coyote Hills Regional Park, and this park I also painted before on a hill with all this brown grass and some rocks. And they have, so the landscape's really interesting there. It's very dry, mostly, at least the time of year that I went. But they have this garden in there it's kind of like a completely different environment. It's really beautiful in there with a bunch of stairs leading to different paths, and there's all these fountains in there. When I painted this, I got there right when it opened, and so there was so many birds in there, and especially in this fountain and all of the fountains, there were so many hummingbirds that would kind of play in the where the water was shooting out, and also bees too, which I hadn't seen before. They were playing in the fountain as well, where the water was like moving and coming out. So that was really, really cool to see. So this, I was experimenting and painting the dappled light that's coming in and figuring out how to paint that. And also there's all of this green stuff in there and how to simplify it, but also show the variation in it as well. And at this spot, I found out there's birds there right when it opens, and then they get replaced by mosquitoes, and I was not prepared for that. So I wasn't wearing bug spray or anything, and so they chased me out. So I went back in my studio then and from memory worked on finishing this painting up and just making it a little tighter in some areas. And yeah, just working on it from memory, which is interesting too. And I've been doing that more now with my plein air work, where I'll be working out on the field, and then I'll come back and see what the painting needs and make finishing touches then in my studio either from memory or just seeing how I want to improve the piece, which I've been liking that because it's kind of gets away from just copying. And so instead of just trying to make a really truthful depiction and making it like as perfect as possible, like as tight as a copy as possible, but more seeing what the piece needs. And it's more I feel like getting my personality in it, and I'm like pulling out things that I like more. Okay, this is the second one. This one's like I'm not so much in love with how this one turned out. It's my first one painting something like this with trees in a forest, and I want to practice more like simplifying and finding bigger shapes within this. So these are eucalyptus trees. I do like having how they had in this scene these greens and reds, as the tree trunks had this reddish hue, and then like all the green grass and foliage. And then there's also these red poppies as well that was on the floor, the forest floor. So I painted this. This was in Golden Gate Park, right by, if you're familiar with that park, right by the bison. So I'm not in love with how it turned out, but it is definitely a good experience getting out there, and it was fun painting for sure. So I had a good time. I had a good time doing it, but if I do forest scenes, I need to work on simplifying it down more. And then my next one, this was at Land's End, and I wanted another go at doing a forest scene, and I really have been wanting to do steps. There was a lot of these really beautiful steps in that garden for the first painting that I showed, and I didn't get a chance to do that, so I wanted to get some steps to try and paint that. Yeah, so this is in Land's End in San Francisco, where there's a lot of fog, and so this was an interesting experience where it would be really, really foggy, and the foreground would be semi-clear, and then back here would just be white. and then the fog would completely leave, and then it would come back and completely leave. So that was kind of the fun part about plein air painting, where you're having like all of these changes in light, and then just also changes in your vision field as well. So yeah, this one kind of the same as the last the last one, where yeah, I need to study forest paintings more to figure out how I can simplify them, but also like have the variation in them, and have a clear, just a better composition. There are elements to this painting that I really like since the fog was coming in and coming out, and with fog, it kind of like sucks the color out in a really delicious way. I really prefer in like more moody paintings, so I kind of like that it's like the color is zapped away from this, and it's just like a lot of grays. I quite like that in painting. Yeah, and then I have some like fallen branches here, and that was fun to paint. That was really fun to paint. And so I guess I really like the idea of this painting, and this is something that I might want to explore again. I've been thinking about plein air painting, and doing like this Alla Prima style is really fun, and I'm getting a lot out of it, I feel. But I also would like to keep taking the same painting back, like a slightly larger painting, and keep revisiting areas where I can get a bunch of layers down and kind of get that like history feel in the painting, where you can tell that like some, I guess where you can see all of the layers, and some areas are explored more and some not, with just like the more time that you spend on a painting. Okay, since I treat this YouTube channel as like my diary for painting, I'm gonna show this because this is what I did, but I don't like this painting. I feel like it's a stupid painting of a stupid fence. And yeah, so I go out plein air painting on Sundays with this group of people that painted in. This was the spot that they chose, which it's slipping in my mind. I forget. I think it's called the Historic Trail. It's a park in San Francisco, and it was kind of funny because I get texted a location, and so I'm going there and I get lost, and I text two other people, and so the three of us just keep sending each other our locations, and we're so far apart in this park we can't find each other. And so it was a lot of hiking too, which was really great because I really enjoy hiking. But I'm trying to also find a spot to paint, and those trails in that park are very thin, and with my easel, I can't really set up on those thin trails. There's also mountain bikers going too, so I can't block the trail. So I finally find the group on the top, and this park is not too terribly open, so where I can set up is limited to not block trails and that type of stuff. So I found this like wider area where I could set up, and that's where this happened. So yeah, I'm probably gonna paint over this painting, either that or just scrap it entirely. But it was a really fun hike up. I had fun painting it, even though I don't really like the outcome. And I guess that's how it goes sometimes. I've been really itching to do some more seascape, so I think I'm gonna focus on that for a little while. Okay, so with these plein air paintings, it feels really good. Even if I don't like how the painting turned out, it feels really good to finish something pretty quickly. And so I wanted to see if I could bring that into my studio work and do some more Alla Prima stuff in my studio. So I have roses in the front of my house, so I picked one and did an Alla Prima painting of it. Now, this is my first time painting fresh flowers. In a previous still life, I had done flowers, but they were fake flowers. And so I'd been also watching Michael Klein, one video where one workshop where he does a floral painting, and then recently I watched another one where him and Richard Kokenash do some floral paintings. So I wanted to try my hand at doing a live flower. So I picked this from outside and I set it up, and I got how I wanted to paint it. And so I start mixing my paint for it, and I look up and the flower has completely changed. It's wilting so quickly. The flower that I picked was like the the most alive one out there on the bush. And yeah, so then I kind of stared at it for a while to try and get it in my memory, and I start painting it. And by the end of the painting, was completely flattened on the board that I had it set up on. So that was a challenge of kind of doing it from memory, kind of making it up, and yeah, following a flower that's slowly wilting before your eyes. So if I do another one, which I probably am, probably gonna maybe put it in some water and see if that helps it keep it alive more. Do that old trick of putting aspirin in the water. And finally, I've been working on this concept of sleepers that I want to explore in my paintings. It's based off of Shakespeare's Hamlet, where, if you're unfamiliar with that story, Hamlet's father, the king, gets poisoned by his brother, Hamlet's uncle, and Hamlet's uncle kills him by pouring poison in the king's ear while he's sleeping. And he's also a really manipulative character with his words, and that's the tie-in with pouring poison in the sleeping king's ear. And so I really like that idea of pouring poison in someone's ear for manipulation. And so I have this very, very ambitious large painting that I want to do in the future. And I'm kind of working out visually how I want to do that, like what the poison's going to look like, and then also just like getting comfortable with painting sleepers. So this is a charcoal drawing that I did, and to study how the face with gravity, with like your head being turned, how that kind of pulls the flesh on the face down. And then I did a painting study of it, Alla Prima, and tried doing something with the poison, and not loving how the poison looks. I think it just needs more layers and like kind of more diffused look to it, and a little less syrupy or jelly-like, which I think it looks. So yeah, I want to explore more with that. I think that I also want it to be kind of the base being like a black liquid with other colors in that black liquid. So still exploring and experimenting with that, but I really like that idea. I have this big idea for a painting with it, but I also want to do smaller iterations that are kind of like a different idea but based off that. So I really like that concept, and I think I can make some really cool images with it. And a reminder, you can still get 30% off of the floral painting with Michael Klein and Richard Kokenash off the East Oak Studios website. You can get 30% off with the discount JMK Floral. And if you are interested in owning any of the pieces that I showed you in this video, they are all currently available. You can also check out my website and go to the shop page and see the artwork that I have up there. And you can also get a limited edition print of my chairs paint on my website as well. So check it out. My website is jennifermariekeller.com.